Hello, friends, and welcome. I have the great honor today of being joined by some folks, well, one folk now and another folk joining in a minute. But you're at the right place. You're at the webinar. My name is Joel Varty, President and CTO of Agility CMS, and here to talk today about Headless CMS and Cloudnary working together. So Cloudnary and Agility CMS working together to create a great online experience. And I'm joined today by Tessa, and she's going to tell us all about herself. Go, Tessa. Tell us about yourself.
Yes, I am Tessa Mero on Twitter. It's at Tessa Mero, M-E-R-O. And I'm a senior developer advocate at Cloudnary, which is like a headless CMS. I would call it a headless DAM, digital asset management. And yeah, Cloudinary is a product for managing assets to deliver rich media. Whether you're a developer or non-developer, we have APIs, we have SDKs, asset management in the backend for non-developers, and you can manipulate and transform images and videos in real time.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and I've been involved in communities and been in tech for like a decade now.
Yeah, and I recently connected with you as part of Jamstack San Francisco. So you've been working with the community there, and I really appreciate all the work that you do from that end, just to help build the community, especially from the developer point of view, to help make it easier for developers to learn this stuff.
Oh, definitely. I'm a big fan of the whole Jamstack stack, and just being part of all of these different communities. It's not just Jamstack communities. You can be part of the Vue community, React communities, and they're all part of these Jamstack events too.
For sure.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So the folks in the chat, just feel free to put, hey, where are you? What's the weather like? That kind of stuff. Always so interested to see where people are joining from all over the world. But if you're sort of not able to follow along that well, don't worry. There will be a video of this that is emailed to you after. And if you have to drop off, no worries. You can always just watch the video later. As Tess was we were talking earlier, and it's like, yeah, a lot of people, maybe they got a bunch of things going on the go and you have it on a side screen. That's all good. We're going to move pretty fast today because we want to get through a lot of material, and I want to get a lot of information from the folks from Cloudnary. So we got Tamas, who hopefully is able to join us from Hungary. He's putting a baby to bed right now, so hopefully that can all work.
A really cute one too.
Yeah. So I think the first thing I want to know, like for me, headless CMS, it's obvious to me because I work with it so much. So Agility is a headless CMS with page management, and that's the big claim to fame that Agility has. It makes it really easy to work with your content as a non-developer, as an editor, but also as a developer to be able to build great websites. And we're going to be working with Next.js today with the blog starter that we have, and we're going to add on Cloudnary onto that. But Tess, what are the biggest benefits to using Cloudnary that you find that developers really connect with in order to help them create great sort of online experiences?
The biggest thing is just having that full control of being able to easily optimize all of your assets and make it even accessible in sometimes minutes of work. Mm-hmm. There's so many different accessibility features, maybe something as simple as auto tagging all images. So we have a lot of like AI tools where you click the button and it'll put tags on all the images. So automatically on your web application, you are if someone is using a screen reader, it'll have that all ready to go.
To pull in like the alt text automatically. I won't be showing that today. I wanted to have that as part of the demo, but we won't be quite there, but I'll be able to show you sort of some of the places, and hopefully you can help us as we go along, Tess, to sort of point us in the right direction where maybe I could have done some things better. So what I want to do today is walk through, basically there's a GitHub repo that I put together that has a README with all the directions of how to do this. It's maybe a couple too many steps. I've just thrown the link to that GitHub repo there in the chat, and I'm going to be walking through it. So I'm going to share my screen, and hopefully we can get this to work, and it'll be great, and you guys will be able to do this. So I share my screen. Hopefully you can see my screen now. There we go. All right, let's get started. We good? We good? This is going to be great. Hopefully is that coming through all right? Can you see that okay, Tess?
Yep. Nice and clear.
Cool. So this is very similar to the Agility Next.js starter we're going to be using. Oh, Tamas is here. Wait, stop
Yay!
everything. Stop everything. Tamas is here. First of all, is the baby asleep?
Hi, Olga.
He is close to being asleep.
Close. Okay. So, if we hear some stuff in the background, we know that maybe that was it.
Yeah.
Cool. So first of all, Tamas, how old is your baby? Olga needs to know.
3.5 months old.
Oh, he's a little wee baby. So cute. And I have to know this baby's name now too. I feel like I need to know all this information about your.
It's Patrick.
Oh, beautiful, wonderful. So Tamas, we've heard from Tess. Tell us a little about what you do at Cloudnary.
I do developer experience engineering, so I pretty much go to conferences, podcasts, meetups, and other various events to do presentations. And then I also do a lot of blogging, mostly around the front end frameworks and front end development. But I also do a lot of back end and some new stuff like WebAssembly and similar sort of emerging technologies.
Right. Yeah. Cool. So just as an overview too, I'm joining you from Port Hope, Ontario, which is not too far from Toronto. Tess, where are you joining us from?
Seattle, Washington State.
And then Tamas, you're in Hungary. Whereabouts in Hungary are you?
I am Budapest.
Budapest. Awesome. That is so cool. This is one of the great things about being able to do online webinars together and workshops. Let's dive right in. We're just about to get started. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to be able to do everything we're doing today is with free accounts. And so if you have absolutely no online accounts, we'll be able to do everything for free, which is cool. First thing we're going to do is sign up for a free account on Agility. Okay, so all these links are actually in this README, and I'm going to go through there and do that. So when you sign up for a free account, it's basically going to take you to a screen that looks like this. If you can see it, you'll see blog with Next.js. There's a bunch of other starters you can choose as well. This is the one that we want, okay? It's going to say, hey, how much do you want to pay for Agility? Right now, 0. We're going to choose that 0 plan. And we're going to call this, let's call it it's my travel blog, because I would love to travel again. Hands up if you would like to travel again. I would love to travel again.
Yes.
Yeah. Great. Where would you travel?
For leisure. For leisure.
For leisure, yes.
I have a trip lined up for Los Angeles to see some friends in end of July. I'm really excited about that.
Nice. Tamas, what about you? Do you get out much? I mean, now you got a baby at home, so.
Well, yeah, but I still would love to go anywhere, really.
Anywhere would be good. So we've created an Agility account, so that was for free. If you need it, so you can do username and password, you can connect with GitHub or Google to actually sign into Agility. I didn't go through that part. It's pretty straightforward. What that does is basically create a default content model for you, okay? And now what we're going to do is we're going to actually use different code than was really anticipated for in the first place, okay? But we also need to sign up for Cloudnary, right? So you're going to go to, actually on the repo, I think I actually created a link. So sign up for a free Cloudnary account right here. Click that link and go through the stuff, and you basically come in Cloudnary to like this dashboard, okay? So we actually have an Agility account and a Cloudnary account, and what we're gonna do is add the integration so that when I'm in Agility editing my content, I can say, hey, I wanna choose an image, and it will bring up your Cloudnary media account. And what I was so amazed, guys, is that you folks have created these plugins, these SDKs from the management side of things so that non-developers can actually work with this stuff, and as a CMS integration that's pretty rich. Tell me about the sort of evolution of those tools and I'm sure that there's quite a few people and lots of work that's being done on those sort of like front-facing type tools for developers.
Should I?
I can just mention just one thing, and then you can add on. With tools, we're trying to make it easier over time, just really understanding what customer needs are, what features do they use the most, and we're building out products in a way where it makes it easy and more quick to do certain tasks or things that they want to do with their media. Right.
Cool. Well, we've created that account. I'm not going to walk through creating that account because I already have an account, but I'm also on a free account right now. So that's like, I think this is one of the coolest things, that we can do all these things without having to pay anything. And you'll notice over here, you get like 25 credits. And if you promote Cloudnary and all kinds of stuff, you can actually get more credits. So that's how you can actually boost your free offering that you can use to play with for a long time. And I've been messing around. You can see I've got some personal images in here that I've just been messing around with, and we're going to be uploading some more images. So let's carry on with the workshop here. All right. So we've got a bunch of sort of, hey, this is what's happening in the starter. I feel free to go through and read this. It's using Next.js, it uses Tailwind, and a few other stuff. First thing we want to do, we signed up for a free account. We need to clone this repository, okay? So I'm going to scroll up. I'm going to grab that, do this. How many times have you guys cloned repositories lately?
Quite a few this week.
Yep.
So I'm going to go git clone. Boom. So that's going to create a folder called something Cloudnary, something Next.js in my dev account, which I probably should have found. I'm going to rename this to make it easier for me to find. I'm going to call this my travel blog. You don't have to rename it, but I did because I've got too many projects that I'm working with. So I'm going to open up that. So now what we need to do is actually connect this account, so this project, to the accounts that we created. So we've got to create our Agility connection and our Cloudnary connection. So the Agility connection, I can tell you where to find Agility connections because I kind of do this a lot. So you basically click on you go to settings, API keys, but from the dashboard, if you didn't see that, click on get API keys. So do that. We're going to grab our GUID, I'm going to copy and paste. We need the security key, put that there. We need to get a fetch key. All right. Now, where do I find my Cloudnary keys?
Right on the dashboard.
They're so hard to find. Oh, I just go to the dashboard and I click cloud name. I need the cloud name and I need this key here. Now, all the things that we're doing, we're actually going to be hiding this API key and not showing it to anybody. But the cloud name, we do need to make available to our URLs because it's actually part of our URLs that we generate. So you'll see how that all works later. But now I've got this working. In theory, now Tess was outlining how this may be a little troublesome for people. But once you get all that in place, you should be able to run. I'm going to run yarn install. You can run npm install. You may have a thing with incorrect peer dependencies with npm 7, but if you're on npm 6, it'll be okay. Or you could use yarn. I'm hoping that you guys can get all that good. Did you actually get it working okay, Tessa?
Yeah, I did.
Nice. You're super smart.
Using the previous npm version.
Right. So I'm going to run yarn dev. And in theory, this is going to work. Okay. Well, not Siri. In theory. Wow. Stop coming up, Siri. I don't want you. That was funny. All right. So I'm going to go localhost 3000. I think there was an issue there. Hang on. No sync line. Oh, wait. I didn't rename my file. Sorry. I should have read my thing. So if you have a GUID problem, then you're going to see some errors here, and I should have kept a look. You have to rename this file env.local. So this is a Next.js sort of thing where you can use env.local. We're not going to check this file into source control, and it will work here. So let's run this again. But right now, it should run. It's connected to my Agility account, my Cloudnary account, but I actually haven't made any changes. But there's a little special something that's in this package that is going to do some stuff. I'm having trouble on the copy and pasting here. Okay, so we've got it running. Going to run. I actually have what I did is I actually put the integration code baked right into here that you're going to need to run this project on as in terms of the integration in Agility. And guys, with Cloudnary, I think there's probably lots of integrations out there for lots of other platforms. What are some of the really interesting ones that you guys have seen in terms of like where they've integrated your platform to do amazing things? I'm hitting you with questions like out of the blue.
That's fine. So there's lots of, strictly speaking, in the world of the Jamstack, there's lots of static site generators. There's lots of, headless CMSs. So there are quite a lot of integrations to the various static site generators, which are really, really cool. And what's really cool about them is that they are community integrations. So obviously, we provide people with the official SDKs for React, for Vue, and for others, and then people can take that and create sort of their own, plugins for a Nux, the Gatsby, and so on and so forth. Which is, I just find it really amazing that people take the time to do these on their own.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, we've got this running locally, and that's good. So now we need, in order to actually get this extension working, it's kind of a little weird thing. I've got to get it going. I've got to get it deployed somewhere so that I can hit a specific JavaScript file. So in this public folder, I've got this custom fields. Those custom fields are what I need to pull into Agility, which means I need to put this on a server. So what I'm going to do is actually create a GitHub repo real fast in GitHub and deploy this thing to Vercel. And I'm sure that there's a faster way to do this, but I don't know how to do it. So I'm going to call this travel blog. And make it public. That's cool. And now I'm going to, this was cloned, so I'm going to remove the remote. I am not good with GitHub. It's one of those things that I never really got that good at, but I'm going to, okay, add this other remote. Boom, do that. And now I'm going to push this up to, in theory, I should be able to go git push. Stop coming up, Siri, jeepers, creepers.
Did you say the theory word again?
I did. That's so weird.
Theory?
That keeps happening. Yeah. Okay, so now this is up in I'm not going to say that the bad word. This is all in my new repo. And what's really cool, I don't know if any of you have worked with Vercel before. I'm presuming that you've worked with, some tools like NPM or Yarn or GitHub. But Vercel is another one of these amazing platforms that has a great free offering that allows us to host for free and get started. So what I'm going to do is I've created a Vercel account too. Also, just by connecting to my GitHub account, I'm going to click on New Project. And it is super smart to know that, hey, you just created a travel blog repo. I'm going to import that into here. And now you guys are going to bear with me while I copy and paste a bunch more environment variables. 0% fun, but I'm actually pretty good at it. So watch me copy and paste. It is painful if you watch someone not use keyboard shortcuts for doing this. I don't know if anyone has any fun stories. My daughter started working at a hospital the other day, and she was watching one of her coworkers, and she says, you can hit. They're using Windows, Control-C, Control-V to paste, copy and paste, and she said the woman started crying. She was so happy. So that was cool because it saves her so much time. So I thought that was a neat little story.
I think there's also a way to configure your environment variables in a file and then add that to Vercel, but I'm not 100% sure. But I think
Vercel also,
before.
They also have a CLI, so you can do it to push things up securely without having to do stuff. Absolutely, do not check your .env files into source control. Avoid that at all costs because your keys could get exposed. So it's always a good practice to not do that. So that's good. I don't know if you guys have any good stories about people who've done that accidentally. I don't even want to think about the time that happened accidentally to me and something happened. It was not fun.
I think it's also worth mentioning, just to get back to this Vercel topic, is, you just added a GitHub repository, but Vercel knows that it is a Next project. So it's going to automatically execute your sort of build based on that. So you don't need to, specify anything. It's just pretty much, you click and it works.
Yeah, that's a great point. We are standing, this project is standing on the heads of giants because the source control was so easy. And I basically download some code, point Vercel at that repo, and it just, does a bunch of work, and congratulations, it works. So now I have a website hosted. This used to be hard. Do you remember when this used to be not that easy? It's pretty easy now. I'm going to click visit, and it's now my site's actually running on Vercel, and it's all built. It's great. And if I open my dashboard, it's all tickety-boo. This is wonderful. So that's like step one of kind of the hard stuff done. Okay, so let's follow along in the README. And here we go. So we did that. We got it running locally, did a bunch of things, added our things. We have additional steps to integrate with Cloudnary. Okay, so we created a Cloudnary account. Cool. We're actually pretty good. We deployed to Vercel. Awesome. Now take note of the URL. So Vercel gives us a URL of, oops, I'm in the wrong spot. Hang on. It gives us this URL. So I took note of that. Here we go. All right, keep them going. And now we're going to add the Cloudner UI extension into Agility. So this is the part of Agility where we're doing a lot of work, and we're going to be doing more work. But for now, this is how you do UI extensions. You basically write them in JavaScript. So I have written this extension for us to use here. So I go to the settings, UI extensions, and I basically just replace the domain that was there with the new one. And we have some new custom fields. Okay, so this is the kind of magic in the back end of Agility, but it's really cool. So I've updated that. I click refresh. And now we have these two magical new fields for a Cloudnary image and a Cloudnary video. So let's go, and we're going to go to the modeling section. So one of the things about Headless CMS is you have some way to create a model. And in Agility, you have a lot of different things that you can do with your content models. And I have just added this new UI extension, which is going to float up something really special that we'll see. So following along, we're going to add the Cloudnary fields to the post content model in Agility, because this is a blog. It's like the simplest example that people use, right? Here, how do I do my blog? So I'm going to go, I'm going to go and uncheck required on the main image. Here we go. So this one right now is a required field, so I'm no longer required, right? So we're not going to be using the default Agility field for that. I'm going to add another field, and I'm going to call it Cloudnary image. Now I have to ask you, when you went through this test, did it make sense to you?
Yes, it did. The documentation was pretty clear. I didn't get through all of it because before you created it, I was just messing around and just creating an instance and just trying to be familiar with the backend, because I actually want to create my own personal site on Agility CMS.
Oh, awesome. Well, I know some people that can help you with that. And if you have any questions about things, I know the most important thing to you folks out there as well, any feedback that you have, please send that through to us either on Twitter or in our Slack channel, anything like that. We want to hear it all. We want to hear all the stuff where it's like, I liked it, but I wasn't sure about this or whatever. And I think the Cloudnary folks the same way. Every time I have reached out to Cloudnary as a customer with a free account, playing around, it has been amazing to see the feedback that goes back and forth. And I think that's a big part of community, is just communicating and giving feedback. I guess you guys probably get a lot of feedback a lot, right?
I love constructive feedback. Then, that's, as developer relations, we have to do something with that and help improve that process.
For sure.
But good feedback's always good too.
Yes. Well, I have some feedback. I love Cloudnary. There we go. I first encountered Cloudnary on, I think, dev.to. That site is using Cloudnary, and they do this cool social image generation thing where if you don't have an image to your post, it creates a Twitter image when you share it of your title. And I'm like, how do they do that? Right click, and it was using Cloudnary. That's how I got into Cloudnary, because it uses like res.cloudnary.com or something for the backend. That's how I discovered Cloudnary. Anyway, so we've created this Cloudnary image field. We've picked a custom field. Okay, so this is the extension, and now we see these custom field types, and we're going to choose Cloudnary image. Okay, that's good. And then I'm going to do one more because we want to show off videos as well. So Cloudnary not only can you do images, but you can also do video, and I'm certain any other file types. And they're super smart about how they handle all those things. And I'm guessing there's so many things going on in Cloudnary, folks, that is there even things that you're discovering day by day?
With features, I feel the more I learn, the more it gets released, and you just can't keep up with it. And each feature, there's just so much detail with it. Like the adaptive bitrate streaming, I've put a lot of hours into reading and wanting to really understand it. And there's just so much to it. And it's fun.
It's just an endless stream of information, really.
Well, I know for my part, the way I came to it was I came to this actual project thinking, okay, I want to build an integration so that it's easier for people using Agility to do the things that I think are really cool. And the first thing is, I love the way we can optimize images with Cloudnary and serve like the best formats, even like brand new ones like AVIF and WebP and all this sort of stuff without having to do any work. So we'll see how that works in a second. But also, I'm like, I would really love to be able to serve videos on my website with adaptive bitrate, so that if someone's on a phone with, they're on like a 3G connection, that the video will still work. And I don't have to do a whole lot of like coding in the background, because I have coded that from scratch. That's really, really hard. And it's like, we take it for granted with YouTube, but I don't want to put a YouTube video, and I don't want to sign up for a Vimeo account necessarily. I want them to be like my videos. So we're going to show you how to do that in just 1 second. So we've created our
Awesome.
Cloudnary image and Cloudnary video field. All right, we're going to save and close that. So now we've updated the model. So we're going to go into the content section here, where we actually have the lists. So Agility has the idea of your content model, well, that's just defining what fields are available. And now this is the actual content itself. Okay, so we've got 3 content items in here. Let's create a brand new content item. And I've got some basically stock images and a video all ready to go. So we're going to go through here, and I'm going to say, I like watching football. One of the things I want to do when I grow up is I love watching NCAA football, and I want it. And so Tamas, I'm sure football for you is soccer, but I'm thinking American football where you throw the football. I want to take a tour of college football all across the United States during the football season. That would be amazing. So until then, I'm just going to write a fake blog post about it. So I'm just going to fill out fields. I'm going to ignore the blog featured image, which is the default image format. And we're going to go down to the supercharged images below. So this is a test post. Okay. So now we've got this special sort of thing set up. Okay. And it's going to, if I've done everything right, it's going to actually bring me up the ability to search videos and photos from my own Cloudnary account. So this is awesome. By the way, my mind was blown when I followed the documentation on the Cloudnary developer site to get this in place. So this is great. Nice job. You guys did really well.
Thank you.
Okay. So yeah, here. So I've got a bunch of photos in here, but I'm like, this is not. It's not exactly the one I want. So I want to upload a new photo. So I'm going to click upload, and I think I've got it in my downloads. So I've got this cool photo here that looks like a football field. That's uploaded. It happened really fast. I'm going to click, I think, on uploaded. Yeah, there it is. So I'm going to check it. And now I've got choose image. Okay, so yes, I was able to manage my entire media library there, which is great. So in this case, the people in Agility would have to have access to Cloudnary. So you're going to have to sort of get that going. This doesn't give you access to something you didn't have access to. But also, I was able to actually choose that image and actually assign it into here. And Tess, you were speaking earlier about having auto tagging and stuff. I'm pretty sure there's a feature where it'll automatically use computer vision to pull out what is this an image of automatically. And I was trying to.
We have that too. We have that too.
I wanted that, but I didn't have a chance to get that in there. So that would be, if you wanted to, let me know if you can create an addition to this extension that will do that. That would be awesome for those of you in the crowd. But for now, this is a football field. If you didn't know, accessibility things like alt text and whatever they're not optional. They are essential when we're building web properties. So that's a big one. Okay, now let's choose a video. And same deal comes up, and I've coded this to limit what comes up here to the videos that are here. So I've already got some stock footage. Now these are 2 videos that were samples, and we're going to actually look at our media library in a little while to show how Tessa was able to help me set up adaptive video streaming automatically on videos that I upload. And that is somewhat mind-blowing how cool that is. But adaptive video streaming means that, as I said before, well, actually, can you explain it to us, Tessa? Because I'm probably not very good at explaining it.
Okay, so adaptive bitrate video, basically when you load a video, it'll look at the bandwidth that you're using. It'll look at your connection and kind of determine what resolution and what format to get to serve the video to you. So it'll always work best for you. And that's kind of how Twitch is built, and at YouTube when you log in and when you go to a video and it automatically selects a resolution for you.
Right.
So it's also a necessary thing to have when you provide videos.
Right. I think so too. Thank you for that. That's awesome. So I've gone and selected that. So this is actually a video of my son playing football because I'm super proud of him. This is a couple years ago when we were allowed to play football. So he's embarrassed by these videos now because he's so much bigger now. But anyway, so I didn't do anything. I literally saved this off of a video camera or whatever and literally uploaded it right here. So you don't have to do any transformation of videos, which I think is really great. So I uploaded my video.
Yeah, and also with Cloudinary, you don't have multiple versions of the same video. It's kind of it's transforming the same video, so you only have that one file originally.
Right. So I have a 1080, this is a 1080 by 1920 by 1080 video here. And I've got this image, which is a pretty high res image, right? This is from, I downloaded this from Pexels, which is like, you know, pretty easy to find images. And yeah, we'll upload something that's in high quality so that it's there. And now we're going to see how Cloudnary does its magic. So I'm going to save this. And I could preview this. Vercel is awesome, by the way, because with Vercel and Agility, we can actually preview content before it's published on Vercel. I'm not going to do that just yet, but I'm actually going to run it locally again. So I'm going to go down here and run yarn dev on my local version of all of this stuff, so we can see from the code perspective what's actually going on. So you can see the content pulled down. Agility has something called content sync. So what it does is it only updates your build with what's changed every time in between. So that's really cool. This is why Agility can be so fast with something like Next.js or Gatsby or whatever. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to run localhost 3000. And looks exactly the same because I just added a new post on the blog page. And here it is. I like watching football. It's going to take a second for me to get these images the very first time. Okay. But actually the Cloudnary one happened first, which I think is awesome.
And another good feature to add would be lazy loading images.
Yes.
And Tomas, you've written a lot of blog posts and demos related to lazy loading, I'm sure.
Yes. This is using the next image component actually, and I'm going to show you how this actually works. I probably don't have it optimized perfectly, but it is very cool. But I'm going to click on this. So this is an image from Cloudnary. If I just open this image in a new tab, we can see this is res.cloudnary.com, and I think this is probably way too high a res of that image. But one of the things that the next image does is it downloads multiple versions of it, which I don't think is perfectly optimized yet, but it's still pretty cool. Anyway, we click into the details. We see this image like really big, and then we see the video. And here we go. Now we can actually play our video, and it looks great. And it will play on all different versions. So if we use the small version of this, I don't even remember how to do this. And I don't remember how to do this in responsive design mode. So if we're on like an iPhone, it's going to show down like here, and it's still going to work for us. And we can, go full screen, and oh geez, don't go full screen when you're doing a demo with Demio. Sorry about that. Okay, you can go full screen, works on your phone. It's awesome. Let's check out the code to see how this works, because I want to get feedback from the Cloudnary folks. Okay, how do I get out of this responsive design mode? When you're using the browser you normally develop for actually to serve your webinar, it gets a little weird. Okay, let's actually look at some of this code. So Agility, when you look at a Next.js project from Agility, it's a little strange because there's only like one file in the pages folder that does any work, because Agility gives you a sitemap object that has all your paths, and it gives you a JSON object for every page in your sitemap. Okay, I'm not going to go through too much of that because I've talked about that in other videos, but just building on top of that, we get this, every component is what's called a module. Okay. And jumping back to Agility here, if we just check this out, here's our pages section. So we have home, blog, about. We were looking at the blog page, right? So we were looking at our listing of posts. So we've got a featured post at the top, and we've got this post listing. Let's look at the post listing module for a second. So I'm going to go Agility page modules, look at post listing. Here we go. All right. So you can see we're pulling a few things in here, and I've written a little library called Cloudnary tools. I'm sure Cloudnary has better ways of doing this, and I'm interested to hear from Tamas or Tessa if I could have chosen a much easier way to get optimized images. But the next image component is pretty cool, and I'm guessing, by the way, sneak peek. This is my putting it out there. I think Vercel's going to be announcing a whole bunch of new stuff with Next.js, especially regarding images, very very soon. Maybe next week. I don't know for sure though. But if I scroll down here, we can see that I am pulling out my image. We have the image source right here, and I'm using this thing called a loader, okay? And I'm using my next image loader, which is basically a method that I wrote that's going to say, hey, what's the Cloudnary image ID, okay? So in that Cloudnary image field, I just store the image ID, and that's pretty much all that matters. I store a few. It gives us back, the URL, the image ID, and whatever. But with that image ID, now we can actually do all kinds of things to transform that image into special ways. And this next image, the loader basically pulls us or sends into us what's the width and the height that it wants this to be. Okay, so let's just look at this code for a second. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to call, actually, I'm chaining this through. So if you're not using the Cloudnary, if we don't have a public ID, then this is like the old school Agility way to do it. We're just going to basically set the height and the width, which is really good for most people, but it's not as super optimized as what Cloudnary is going to do, which is being super smart, which has like auto formatting, and it does like this stuff called gravity, where which is all kinds of stuff. Actually, and maybe you guys can explain some of that to me. So first of all, I am manually creating this URL like this, which is a very specialized format. Tamas or Tessa, is there a way for me to sort of understand how this is built? Like, where is this in the documentation, or is there an API, an SDK for this?
I was just going to break down the URL, but
sure. Yeah, break it down for me. Walk me through what I did here.
So each parameter in the URL, starting from after upload, is aside from the cloud name, is different things you can do to transform the image or video. So
Right.
cfill, it's cropping the image, and then it's filling up back into the space. G-auto is gravity auto to determine where it's going to crop to and automatically do. So there's a lot of like automation happening with your image. And then you have your width and then height. F auto is that was that quality, automatically improve the quality.
Yeah.
And then your public ID of the image. And yeah, every single piece is explained in the documentation with lots of different examples and a lot of different ways of using it.
Right. I'll have to say that I cheated when I was learning how to do this, and I'm going to show you how I cheated to get this. And this is good. So I would always recommend cheating to learn things. So I actually wrote a little manage thing here too, to actually open up this image. So for every image, when you actually click on it in the in your media library in Cloudnary, it gives you this screen, which gives a whole bunch of transformation presets. And I just looked at these URLs and thought, wow, there's some crazy stuff going on. And then I saw this button, ooh, transform. So I was just experimenting with this. And you can see that all of this stuff that Tessa was just talking about, we can do over here. And all of these things are, so I can do them as a non-developer and just build a URL and copy it if I wanted to do that, like, and put it somewhere in like a text field or something if we had that format. But as a developer now, I was able to work with all of these settings, and I just sort of messed around with some stuff there. I really love the G auto setting, the gravity, because if there's a face and I
the
crop
gravity
it,
auto,
it brings the whatever it thinks is important in the image out there. But then we also see this F auto. So I love all the automatic things because it means I don't have to do any work. But if we actually look at this image, let me just dig into this for a second here. Let's open this image in a new tab. All right, and then I'm going to bring up my developer tools, and we'll see what's actually going on here, because this is really exciting, I think. So if I look at my network tab, okay, so this actually is coming through. It's got a .jpeg because I just added .jpeg to everything. I don't really care, but you can see this is actually a really big, it's bringing it out like the full size, 3840, but it's pulling it back in what's called JP2, which is a totally different format than normal. And that's because of that format auto. If we look at the headers, if I can find this, hang on. Here it is. So if we look at these, if they will load for me. If we look at the headers, it's actually my browser said I can take certain types of images. It added that to the basically the accept types that it's got. And then Cloudnary is smart enough to say, I'm going to give you the best version of that image for your browser. And so it actually made, I'm not doing very well with the clicking around today. So I guess for Safari, the best version of it is this JPEG 2000? Is that what JP2 is?
Yes.
So that's cool. So I could specify a format or just let it go auto. Now let's bring this up, the same image. Let's actually make it a little smaller so that it's not so crazy to work with. So I just changed my width to, let's go with like 1,000. That's a little smaller. So I'm going to transform it again, and now it's a little easier to work with. And this is 31K. If I took out my F auto, any guesses how big this is as a regular JPEG?
100 kilobytes.
Larger?
Wow.
Well, it's actually not that bad, 50. So it still did a pretty good job of making it that. If I do a PNG, it's going to be nasty, pretty nasty. I don't know how nasty, but it will not be as optimized, right? So it's still going to give you what you asked for. Yeah, 500K. So you can see how the exact same image in different formats can be horrible, right? If you don't choose the right format to work with. So that's why something like F-Auto is really awesome. Let's open this up in another browser just for fun. Probably going to crash my computer, but whatever. We're all good. Okay. Okay, so that's our 1000 image. We still have F-Auto on there. I click inspect here, and I'll bring up the developer tools again.
I think you can do also Q_auto to enhance the quality. That's for images, right, Tamas?
Oh, you see?
Can you do that for videos too?
Yes. So I'll let him finish this, and I'm going to say a couple of things.
Okay.
Okay. So on this one, it brought it in, and it used, I think, WebP. Where is the content type? Content type is so that used it just used a WebP, and WebP came back. So this one came back as a slightly even smaller size. And then I believe I'm going to actually go a little too far here. Sorry, I've taken this too far now. But I want to show in Edge how Cloudnary is being so doggone smart here that it's now 3 different browsers, exact same image, exact same URL, and it comes back with 3 different versions of that based on what it thinks. So this is going to do WebP again. I've seen it come back with AVIF as well on some images, and it just decides based on what's in this image, it sends me back the right thing. Now, Tamas, you were going to tell me something that's even smarter about all this.
Yeah, where do I start? So let's talk about Q-Auto. So F-Auto, and a lot of people ask this when I do this demo is, do you then generate new images in Cloudinary? So what you need to remember is that you still work off from the same base image, and then using F-Auto, using the sort of the user agent hints, or so the client hints from the browser, Cloudinary is able to, on the server side, render the image in the right format and then deliver that to you, which of course has its benefits because we just saw how, an image that is otherwise 60 kilobytes goes down to about, 50 if it's a JP2 or a JPEG 2000, and again, around 40 when it's a WebP. So that's one thing, right? But when it comes to image optimization, there's also the fact that the image itself can do with some quality reduction or some quality optimizations, right? And then if you just append Q_auto to the URL, what's going to happen is the quality of the image is going to be reduced in a way that is not visible to the human eye. Therefore, you're not going to introduce any sort of visual defects or visual artifacts to your image. So it's not going to be, pixelated or anything. So seemingly it is the same quality, although I don't know how well that is visible to people over the stream. But you do see that the size went down considerably as well. Now, what's important to understand with Q-Auto as well is the fact that, a lot of times people say, well, you need to do image optimization. And what they do is part of the build process, they would run images through a tool like Sharp or, something that would effectively change the quality of the image. And normally with these tools, what you need to do is set the quality to a fixed value. So you say, here's all my JPEGs, reduce that quality to, quality 80. And then the tool does its thing, and then you have your optimized images. Now with Q-Auto, every single image is optimized based on the content of the image. So Q-Auto will analyze the image, and based on the content in the image, it's going to determine whether, what quality reduction it can take without affecting the human eye. So it could be that for one image, it is quality 80, but it could be that for others, it's quality 45. And all of that is determined automatically.
Okay, you convinced me. I'm adding it to my code. Here we go. Oops, not the whole thing. I'm going to go Q_auto. Awesome. And there are so many little tricks like that make this just a great experience from a developer point of view, that I don't have to worry about that because I am not an image optimization expert. I could listen to Tamas all day talk about this stuff. But hey, I just made my webpage faster and better, and the quality is, even better. Look at how crisp that grass is. Amazing. Cool. All right. So I want to show what's actually happening in the background of Cloudnary there. So actually I can look at my media library just through Cloudnary as well. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to actually click on there, and I click transform, and we can actually look at the derived images that all the different things that got created here. So what it did is it actually kept all these transformations. And so when I come and ask for them again, they're lickety split. They're really fast because they're all, so you can see this is the WebP, the JP2. It did all that in the background for me, and I didn't have to worry about it. I don't have to maintain that. I have one image that I upload that's high quality, and doggone, and I love that. Yeah. That's cool.
And all these images are, so first of all, they are cached. So you don't need to, Cloudinary doesn't need to regenerate them on the server side because you've already done that. Plus, they are also propagated to all the CD and Edge servers as well. Right, so you don't need to do that again. So requesting these images again are going to be super fast.
Okay, I like super fast. Super fast is great. Now we're going to talk about video a little bit. Okay, so, and by the way, there's lots of code in here. When you come through this, and if you have comments on how the code works, absolutely would love to hear your thoughts on that. But we're just going to hit some of the highlights now so that I can get some awesome details from my guests. Okay, so back to the pages section of Agility. And so we were looking at the blog listing. Now we're going to look at the blog details, which is also a module. So here's the post details module here. By the way, thank you for answering the questions in the thing there. Different browsers kit. Yeah, appropriate quality. That's awesome. Okay, so looking at blog post details. So here we go, post details. Again, I have a bunch of my Cloudnary tools that I've brought in of some helper methods. Okay, so this one is actually going to say I have an image source. That's fine. So we're going to get the Cloudnary image, but we also, I'm going to come back to the social image here in a second too, but we also have the Cloudnary video that got attached to this that I want to show in my details. Okay, and all I really need is my video ID. Again, everything has a public ID in Cloudnary, and once you have that ID, you can create transformations and do all kinds of magical special things. All right, so I'm going to scroll through here, and there's all kinds of interesting things to talk about, but the most important thing right now is like, hey, if we have a video ID, then we're going to use this video component that I have created, and jumping into that component, it is really just a wrapper around, where did I put it? It's just a wrapper around the advanced video component from the Cloudnary React SDK. I think it's actually from there's a new version. I think this is a fairly new version of this thing, which I could be right or wrong on, but it means that I didn't have to do the actual video tag, which is an HTML5 tag, which I don't want to have to do. And this just takes care of it for me about creating the video output in the way because that's a really hard thing to do to get right for all browsers. You can easily screw that up. So this is super easy. It needs the video, which I was able to construct from the Cloudnary SDK here. And I generated my poster URL. This blew my mind when I was able to say, hey, I have a video ID, but I can go get a frame from that video to use as the poster. And that's pretty cool. So that was neat. And then I passed that poster in here, as well as my crazy Tailwind classes, and it all just works. Do you guys want to talk about this a little bit to say, are there other ways I could be using this? Or I think this is like the way that most people use sort of videos from Cloudnary. To me, it was pretty magical. It just worked, right?
Yeah. So the benefits of using the video player that we provide comes with, so obviously, you want to play video, but you could do things like playlists, for example. So that kind of YouTube feature where you have a collection of videos. So you can essentially build that using the Cloudinary video player. You could also do things like previews of an upcoming video. So you could build your playlist in a way that it actually reflects how YouTube works. When you finish watching a video, a couple of seconds before the end, you have, click here to watch the next video, and then you can just click there and it will start playing that. And I think also the fact that, HLS or adaptive bit streaming. Yes.
Yeah, you got it.
I got it. Is also something that you can just enable very easily using this video player.
Well, I'm going to show that because I spent a long time trying to figure that out, and Tessa helped me. And I'm going to show you how I was able to do that really easily once I knew where to click. So this is great. I did quickly peek at this get video poster URL because this is so cool. So again, I'm constructing this URL. I use my cloud name. I start with the word video because it's a video. And I used F-auto. Probably should have had Q-auto. I will fix that. Sorry. Q-auto. I put the public ID, and then, which is an ID, remember, of a video. And I just added .jpeg at the end, okay, to say, hey, give me a frame of it, and JPEG is an easy one, so we'll use JPEG at the worst. But this is cool because now, if I actually go here, I don't know if I can see this. You'll see it rendering here, right? But this frame is Cloudnary just went and picked what they thought was an interesting part of the video to use as the poster. If I had a different poster of like, come watch my video, click here right now, that I wanted to put, as a poster instead of that, I could do that. And as soon as you click start playing, it'll start playing whatever the thing is. And actually, let's just spend 14 seconds and watch this video of my son, because this was like one of my favorite plays. This is a touchdown pass. Here we go. Number 12. Keep an eye on him. There's the ball. Catches, touchdown. Okay, that was exciting. I don't know if that came through very well, but that was pretty fun. I also coach my son. I'm a high school football coach too. That was a proud moment. At any rate, okay, back to the code. Sorry. So how that video was actually served using adaptive bitrate streaming, which is really, as I said before, really hard to get set up if you're trying to do it on your own. In fact, I would recommend not trying to code it yourself. Unless you want to start your own SaaS startup as a DAM. But you know what? If you're interested in that, you probably just want to go join Cloudnary, because you could probably just, don't start at the ground and you guys just jump on what they're doing. But this is awesome. I'm going to click on settings. What I can do here is create what's called an upload profile. So if I'm uploading manually using code, I can upload and specify the profile when I upload, and there's tons of documentation for that. But what I wanted to do was, anytime anyone uploads a video, I want it to be served with adaptive bitrate streaming, so that no one can make a mistake and not have that turned on. And this is something that I can't just say, hey, give me the video and adaptive bitrate streaming if it's longer than 10 seconds or 20 seconds or a certain size, because that's called a on-demand transform. Am I getting that right? But videos use, I think is it called an eager transformation when they work. So I think this is under the upload section. And I'm going to go down. This is kind of buried. There's these upload presets. So there's a couple defaults that you get. And I created my own called video stream, right? And it is what's called an eager transformation. So that means as soon as I upload a video that uses this profile, it will be transformed by default, and multiple versions of it will be created, which is exactly what I want for adaptive streaming. Because as Tamas was saying, hey, maybe I'm on 5G and I'm going to get the 1080p version of it, but maybe I'm on 3G on my phone and I want to get the 480 version of that video.
So one thing just to clarify, so when you say it's going to generate new videos, what it's going to do is going to generate those new transformed assets in the same way how we saw that for the images. It's not effectively going to create a new entry in your media library.
Right.
And they call that the term that we use, I'm not sure if it's a global term or just a Cloudinary term, is representations or variants, having multiple variations of your video. And and then you would create the streaming profiles in Cloudinary that would represent each variant. Right.
So, okay. So I've went in, and so I clicked on edit. This right now, it says SP full, which I think SP full HD, which is that's the streaming profile, right? Streaming profile is full HD. And it's got this M3U8 on there. Which I'm not sure what M3U8 means, but it's important. So here we go. I click edit.
So M3U8 is the file extension for the HS streaming profile.
Right. So I went in and checked off M3U8 because it had playlist HLS. And there's also MPEG Dash, which I'm not sure which one is better for streaming. I just went with this one because it was the one I'd heard of, even though I'd heard of HLS video streaming. So this is where there's a lot of formats here and it's a little confusing, but once you know what to do, you have a superpower. So I clicked on this, and then I chose the streaming profile, am I scrolling past it yet? Streaming profile, which is I chose full HD, and you look at there's all kinds of these here. So if I wanted, there's like lean HD, there's all kinds of things, and you can also create your own, I think, right? So I just chose full HD because that's fine. That's the best, but it also creates smaller versions too, right? Of these, and there's documentation for that. So
basically every profile that you see there would have a set of videos that we would generate. So when you select full HD, there's a configuration that says generate these 8 transformations, 8 different sizes and qualities. If you select another one, it may generate 5, for another may generate 12, so on and so forth.
Right. And here's what's really cool. So I know we've all worked with like a YouTube or a Vimeo or these other services where you upload and there's some processing that has to go on. So that's what this is going to do for you. It's like it's going to do some processing, and that can take some time. And this is what we call eager async. So my upload happens and the upload's done, and then Cloudnary's like robot servers or whatever's happening in the background does all that work for us. And then we can actually get notified. So if you wanted to have something on your website where it's like a UGC thing, where it's like, hey, upload your fun and I'm basically recreating, my own TikTok or something. I could have something that says, hey, this video is not necessarily ready yet. My server can get a callback notification with this, and then you could upload that video to say, yeah, it's ready now, it's ready to go, and you can view it. So you could basically build your own video streaming service that's really what Cloudnary has created for us. And by the way, thank you, because this is awesome. This stuff is so hard to do normally. And I think it's kind of a cop-out to just say, oh, I'm just going to put it on YouTube, or I'm just going to put it on Vimeo, because then you aren't in control of that content, and your users could be seeing ads, and I'm not really in control of that experience. This gives you 100% complete control of the experience to get started. So when I uploaded the video, that football video, remember, I didn't do anything, right? I didn't go choose anything. This is a default format. So what I did, I'm going to go back here. So I created that preset, and then now in my media libraries upload presets, I just chose that one. So I unchecked the default and I turned on video streaming. So now I'm going to get this eager, awesome transformation. And Tamas, guide me through how I can see what that actually is. So if I find this video and I click on it, can I see where all those are?
So you would have to go to transform, I think.
Oh, derived videos. I think it's here, isn't it? Yeah, check this out. So it created the JPEG that I did for the media library thumb, but it also, as I scroll down here, it's got the streaming profile. It's got all this cool stuff. Look, here's my 1080. It's got a different format of 1080. Here's 1280 by 720. So it's basically creating all of the different sizes and formats. This is awesome. Like, look at how much work it did. And I didn't have to do anything. I just uploaded a fun video of, a kid playing football, and magic. That's
so one thing to add here is that, obviously you set that a transformation globally on your account. But if you do, let's say you create maybe some Node.js code that is going to take, videos, and then you're going to do the upload using the Node.js SDK from Cloudinary. As part of the upload method, you have an option to pass in a parameter that says, eager transformation, and then you just specify the name for it, and it's going to be not a global setting, but only applying transformations for that piece of code that you created.
Right. Yeah, so it gives you all kinds of control over the videos. It's cool. Sorry, did I miss something you were saying there, Tessa?
No, I heard a loud sound.
It was my Siri this time around, so yeah, sorry.
Oh,
did you activate his Siri?
No, I think I did.
I know you've been the guilty one.
That's awesome. I got to turn off that feature at some point. So that's amazing. I'm kind of agog at how amazing this is, because now my users, they don't need to know all the things that I thought was important as a developer, right? As a developer, I wanted to be able to create, super high quality but really fast images. Boom, they just upload photos and that's good. And same thing with videos. I want to be able to have like butter smooth streaming videos on the website that I'm in complete control of. and that's there. There's one other special feature. I have 1 minute left, and I wanted to show it because I remember I talked about the dev.to open graph images, so social share images. Well, I did my own social share image. And what I did was I actually created that crazy URL again that does that. So let's look at the get social image. This one's a little crazy. And the way I did it is I just went to that. Here it is. Sorry, I'll jump back one more time. I went to one of the photos. I created my own background, basically. And this, I think this is my background. Where did I create it? I put it in the backgrounds folder. I created this background, right? So I have like no skills with Photoshop, but I did this. And so what I want to do is like, I wanted to overlay my image here and then some text over top of here. And so when I share my thing on, you know, Facebook or Twitter or whatever, that it'll actually do this. So let's actually test that out and see if it's going to work. And here, the way we can do that is kind of hijack that. So in my post details, I output the OG image source. So the OG image source is being calculated by get social image. We'll dig into that code in a second, but until then, I'm just going to throw this higgledy-piggledy into an image tag here so we can see what it looks like. All right, and let's set it to be not too huge. Let's go like 400 px. Okay. Oh. Surprised I was able to type that in without activating Siri. Oh, I'm going to do that properly. Yeah. So if I look at this now, crashed, whole thing crashed. It's all dead. It's never going to work again. Oh, geez. Style props. Oh. You'd think that I'd never coded in React before. I'm new, but I'm not that new. Okay. There we go. All right. So what I wanted is to get, here we go. Here's the main image there. And we have the text overlay here. It's like, you know how hard that is? If you were to write that with, like, you can totally do that with backend code, but that is actually really hard to do. Okay. So I was able to do this yesterday in about 10 minutes because, you know, I found a tool to like, hey, give me a transparent overlay over an image. And I have that basic background, but to pull these in that's all Cloudnary all the time. So I went and used this transformation like toolkit to go and do, like, you can add overlays and watermarks and all kinds of stuff, and figured out how they were doing it. Is there an API for doing this, for creating these social images to these transformations, or do I kind of have to do it that way?
You would have to do it that way. So,
okay.
Shameless plug if I may, but I actually wrote a blog post exactly about this topic a couple of weeks ago. And I also released a library for Eleventy that would do this automatically. So if you have an Eleventy project, it takes the block title. You can basically configure it, but it will automatically generate the stuff for you. The one thing that you can do to make your life easier is what we call named transformations. So you could group the C field, the G southeast, all the parameters that you have into one named transformation, and maybe call that, social share. And then you would just have to put / I think it's maybe T_social share. And then that's pretty much it. And then all these transformations would be applied automatically.
It'll load all of them.
Right.
Wait.
Okay.
Here.
So yeah, I wasn't as smart as that, but this is pretty cool. That's thank you, Tamas, for putting that up there. It would be awesome if someone could create, not one just for the entire world, not just Eleventy, but that would be using the Eleventy's code to do that. So as a template, which is also super awesome. I love Eleventy. But this is cool. So this just takes, hey, what's the ID of the image that is going to be the little small overlay and the actual title. The trick with the title, you got to encode it twice, because if there's like an exclamation mark or whatever in the title, in the actual text, you can get into trouble. So I did find that. And there you go. So it does all these crazy, like, check out these things. I'm putting a shadow on the text. I'm setting its font, and I want it to be bold. It's 120 size. Then I just use basically, string concatenation, put this in here. This is pretty cool stuff, how it actually puts us all together. And then I hard-coded the ID of my social background image. So you could actually have a different background image that you used for different things too. So pretty cool stuff. And what that ends up coming out as, if I just go back into here, so I've got this, let me just check here for a second. Where is this? Oh, I got to update. This is not the right starter. Anyway, there is the one of the ways that you can test this out. Actually, I mean, bear with me just for a couple. I know I've gone over my time. I'm actually going to upload this and actually check this in. So actually, I don't need to check any changes in here. I'm going to publish this blog post. I like watching football. Here we go. I'm going to publish this, and we're going to see if this actually works with our Vercel stuff. So publish it out here. What this is going to do, I don't know if you're very familiar with Next.js, but this actually uses incremental static regeneration to update our Vercel site. So we don't actually do a full new build, but if I actually go and visit the site now, and check my blogs, this post in a second, it might take a second for it to come through, is automatically there. So it didn't have to do a new build, and it still added that new post in here. So that's awesome. And then here's a cool tool. I don't know if you know about this, but you can test your social images with Twitter. So Twitter card validator. And there's one for Facebook as well. So when you create these, oh, for goodness sakes, making me log into Twitter. Excuse me for 1 second while I log into Twitter. It's probably going to make me verify.
Show password.
Yeah, totally. Here we go. No card found. Oh, don't be that way. All right. It may take a second for it to find the image. There you go. So it found my image and it pulled it in. So that's pretty sweet. So yay, did all the things I wanted it to do. And I think that is some pretty cool technology that I literally wrote this yesterday without having a whole lot of time. And, you know, I immediately thought of actually Olga, because she just actually shared this one that has a social share image on there with like all kinds of text and background and images. And I would love to give that as a tool for her to use. She's not a developer. She's a marketing person who is super busy and doing tons of work. And to give her a tool like that would take, you know, information from the blog post and she just uploads the background image and it just shoots it all there. She's yes, please. That is a superpower for your marketing team. And the ability to do that for social images, for video. I don't know about you folks at Cloudnary, how in terms of customer requests or developer requests, but thank you for creating that, because that to me is like superpower for your marketing team.
And if you want to even add more features to social cards, you can automatically generate a whole list of them using maybe a database API, maybe like FaunaDB, and have a whole list of images.
Yes.
Or have a video as your social share.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Yes.
With your custom text overlay, right?
Yeah, you can do custom overlays over videos and stuff like that. It's so doggone cool. I can't wait to see what people build with this. I'm really, really excited to see all these things. I'm so excited that you guys were able to join, that you folks have been able to tell me, you know, things that I didn't know. And I've been playing with Cloudnary for quite some time, but like things like, you know, F-Auto and Q-Auto, just amazing stuff. And I can't wait to go back and try some of these other things out. Any final thoughts from the two of you folks?
I can say something.
Do it.
Just so hopefully, you know, people saw that you can reduce the sizes of your images and your videos. So to think about, you know, not just automation, but also things like optimization, because these techniques here are going to, first of all, help you with your web performance. You know, your site is going to be loading faster, and it's also going to save, you know, bandwidth for your users. So it's a win-win.
Right. Yeah, and you can get started for free.
And if anyone is working with images or videos and have generic questions, or you're trying to look for sample code for certain use cases, join our Discord community. It's not specific to Cloudinary. Just any developers who's trying to work with images and video. That's the place to go for any information.
Awesome. I'm just about to join that myself.
Awesome.
Cool. Yeah, thanks, folks, for joining Tess and Tamas. I really, really appreciate it. You guys have been great, especially Tamas, who is like up late at night and, you know, has a baby that needs to get to sleep, or maybe is sleeping peacefully now, dreaming about.
Thank you for having us.
This has been great.
Yes, thank you indeed.
And thanks to you, wherever you are around the world joining us. This has been amazing. Again, the video will be in your inbox either later today or tomorrow. Thanks to Olga for moderating this for us, and have a great rest of your day, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.